At 78, Don Henley, the iconic co-founder and drummer of the Eagles, has finally opened up about the circumstances that led to the band's breakup, offering fans a rare glimpse into the complex dynamics, tensions, and decisions that defined one of rock music's most legendary groups, because while the public often only sees the polished records, chart-topping hits, and sold-out tours, the reality behind the scenes was marked by creative differences, personal conflicts, and the pressures of fame, all of which accumulated over time and ultimately influenced the trajectory of the band. And as Henley recounts, the breakup was not the result of a single event but a combination of factors, including diverging artistic visions, interpersonal friction, and the natural evolution of individuals who had spent decades working and living in close quarters, creating a scenario where compromise became increasingly difficult and the risk of resentment or burnout grew, because even the most talented and celebrated groups face challenges when balancing individual ambition with collective goals, and in the Eagles' case, each member brought extraordinary skill, creativity, and personality to the table, which contributed to both their success and the eventual tensions that led to their hiatus. And according to Henley, these decisions were made with careful consideration, respect for fellow band members, and a recognition of the need for personal growth, even when the outcome was painful for fans and those deeply invested in the band's legacy. And while media speculation often framed the breakup as abrupt or dramatic, Henley's reflections highlight a more nuanced reality, where years of collaboration, touring, recording, and public scrutiny created an environment where the bonds that once held the group together became strained, as each individual navigated the pressures of success, public expectation, and personal aspiration. And understanding this context allows fans to appreciate not only the music the Eagles created but also the human stories behind the albums, tours, and iconic performances, because every group's journey is shaped by both triumphs and trials, and the challenges of maintaining creative collaboration over decades are often invisible to those outside the inner circle. And Henley's candor in revealing these insights underscores the importance of transparency, reflection, and honesty in understanding the full picture of a legendary band's history, as he shares how communication breakdowns, scheduling conflicts, and differing priorities contributed to the decision to step back, showing that even enduring partnerships are subject to evolution, change, and the inevitability of divergent paths. And while the breakup disappointed millions of fans around the world, it also created opportunities for personal exploration, solo careers, and eventual reunions that would allow the band to reconnect under new circumstances, illustrating that endings can be transformative and necessary for growth, because recognizing when a chapter has run its course is a difficult but essential part of sustaining creative energy, personal fulfillment, and long-term legacy. And Henley's reflections at 78 provide not just a factual account of events but also a thoughtful meditation on the balance between ambition, collaboration, and the realities of life in the spotlight, emphasizing that the end of the Eagles was not a simple story of conflict, but a complex interplay of personalities, circumstances, and decisions that shaped both their music and their lives. And as listeners absorb these revelations, it becomes clear that the human stories behind legendary bands are as compelling as the music itself, because the interplay of talent, ego, friendship, and circumstance creates narratives that resonate far beyond the stage, reminding fans that every iconic song, performance, and album is the product not just of creativity but of resilience, compromise, and the sometimes difficult choices that define a lifetime of collaboration. And in finally sharing what really ended the Eagles, Don Henley offers both closure and insight, allowing the world to see the band's story in its full, human complexity while preserving the magic, legacy, and music that will continue to inspire generations.